Hey everybody, I'm Den Haring and welcome back to my channel, Fish Den 365. Recently I was out on Lake Wallenpaupack. I was fishing for largemouth and smallmouth bass, and I learned a couple of valuable lessons during the day. So we're going to take it to the water, we'll show you how we did, and then we'll break in a few times and talk about what was learned and how I could have made the day that much better, with the hope that it'll make your fishing better in your fishing excursions. Let's take it to the water. Largemouth on the jig. Nice one. Good quality fish. Good tournament fish. There's a tournament going on out here today, but I'm not fishing it. But maybe I should be. That fish was cold. About 15 minutes ago, I saw a fish in the corner over here surface, and I don't know if it was a bait fish or a bass, but when I came over in this corner through this swim jig and caught that largemouth. Probably not a coincidence. Got to keep your eyes open when you're fishing. I'm out here on Lake Wallenpaupack. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's 20 after 1. We got out here about a half an hour ago, and we just started fishing. And there's a tournament going on out here today, but I'm not fishing in the tournament. I'm sure they were here very early this morning. And this is the first time I've been out since my dad died. It's probably been a month almost since I've been out. He died October 11th. Today is the 26th, I believe, today. So it's a little bit with a heavy heart that I'm fishing today. I'd be lying if I said otherwise, but I'm forcing myself through the motions and caught that fish. So we'll see how we do. I'm going to try and do the best I can to catch some more. Follow along. Man, is he hooked good. Alright, number 2, smallmouth this time on the jig. Just following along the 20-foot contour line. Not a bad fish. thing's very deep. Well, that was the deepest largemouth I caught in quite some time, folks. That guy is down 25, 30 feet on the spoon. Down there feeding on bait fish. I might just have to spoon a few more here before we change back to our other lure. Bit of a surprise. Catch that one. On our way to a fairly good limit here. Got another one, folks. There's a school of them down here. That was a smallmouth, and a nice one at that. Well, at least I got to see him. It was about a 4-pound smallmouth. I think we're going to spoon some more here. We got the school excited, I believe. Bunch of bait fish down here. I've got to turn the boat around. Just tied on some new weapons to try for these fish because this school is still out here. I'm going to see if I can get them fired up with another type of bait here. See how we do. Got a couple of swim jigs, different sizes, and I got a spy bait. We're going to try that too, along with the spoon. Battery died on this little smallmouth. I had one about 4 pounds that got off. I like when that spoon bites on, it's fun. I'm going to keep spooning a while, see what we can do. Well, folks, the weather's changing. It feels like a front coming in. It's cooling down. We got some wind coming in there. I'm going to go back to where I caught some fish and see if I can adapt and catch a few more before this day ends. We'll see how it goes. You know, I got back to that spot where I started and the fish had moved. Where that school was, they were gone. So I went back to where I began the whole day, which was over in the corner.
and I did get a fish hit, but I missed him. I didn't hook that fish. But here's the two things that I should have done differently, and would have meant that I caught a lot more fish. Number one, when I found that school of fish, I knew what I had there. I saw the alewives on the graph, and I saw the hooks that were around them, and I caught a largemouth, and then I caught a smallmouth, and then I caught a largemouth, and I lost a smallmouth, and I tried some different baits, a smaller size jig. I think I threw the swim bait in there, and then I think I threw a spy bait. But what I should have done was when I caught that first largemouth where that school was, and then lost that smallie, I should have just kept fishing with the spoon. I should have, stayed on them, because what happens is when you have deep water fish like that are schooled up and they're around bait fish, sometimes you can get over them and still not get them to bite. But when you do, they get excited. It activates the school, it excites the school, and they all competitively start feeding. And if your bait's down there when they're competitively feeding, then they're trying to get your bait away from the other fish, and you just catch a whole lot more. So it would have been smarter for me to just keep throwing that spoon over those fish instead of changing up and thinking I can get them in a different way. And in fact, I did go back to that spoon, and I did catch that other smallmouth, a real pretty one. So I did do that, but I could have caught more if I would have stayed on them and focused on fishing that spoon in that school. The second mistake I made was not as obvious, and that was, you didn't see this in the video, but I was throwing that swim jig, and I actually got stuck on the bottom, and then I broke it off. I was using a white rod, and I was using a Bass Pro Shop Carbon Light reel. And later in the video, when I moved to that other spot, I'm sure there were fish there because it's perennially a good spot. I didn't catch any. I was using the swim jig again, but I was throwing it on another rod. It was an orange colored rod, and the reel looked the same. It was another Bass Pro Shops Carbon Light, except there was one critical difference. The first Carbon Light reel I had a 6.3 to 1 gear ratio. The second Carbon Light reel that I was using on that orange rod had an 8.3 to 1 gear ratio. And this, if you're not aware of this, speed of retrieve often is more important than color. Many times it's the most important trigger in your retrieve. And so, I was focused on retrieving it at the same pace and with, turning the reel handle. But with an 8.3 to 1 reel instead of a 6.3, I was probably fishing that bait too fast. I missed a fish at the end, and I probably had fish that followed the bait but didn't take it in the other spot because my gear ratio was not the same. So what happened there was I just lost concentration, assumed that those reels were identical, and they weren't. If I just would have retied onto that rod and reel with the 6.3 to 1 gear ratio instead of the 8.3 to 1 gear ratio, I probably would have caught more fish. And so lesson learned. Next time I will definitely remember what I actually have in my hands and what I'm fishing with, because sometimes it can make a difference. Well, I hope that helps you in your fishing coming up in these later days of fall. The fishing can get very hot right now. It can get very good because the fish are starting to school up. And if you can find those schools and drop down something vertically over them, you can catch them. And it's getting to be that time of year now. So get out there, enjoy yourself, be safe, and catch some good fish. I'm Den Haring. My channel is Fish Den 365. We're certified Bassified. Remember, we have our 1,000 subscriber giveaway going on right now. And so you have to find that video. It was the last video that I did. You have to, the way you enter into that drawing, we're giving away a Curado reel and we're giving away a top dollar lure. The way you can enter is to watch that particular video. You have to subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed, you're good. If not, subscribe to the channel, watch that video, and make a comment on that video. Anything you want to say, just comment, that's fine. And you'll be automatically entered into the drawing. In another 2.5 weeks, we will pick a winner, and maybe it'll be you. Maybe you'll win the Curado reel and the top dollar lure. Well, good luck to everyone, and remember, if you get out there, God bless your fishing endeavors.